This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And with the playing of our ever-popular theme song, I didn't realize it was popular. Anyway, with the playing of our theme song, it's time now for The Ramble. I am your host, Alex Bennett, and I will be with you until midnight Eastern Daylight Time, which will soon be Eastern Time. And I was making up some stuff today, some graphics, and decided rather than putting down Eastern Daylight Time, I would just put ET for extraterrestrial and leave it at that. Anyway, I'm Alex Bennett, and later on we're going to have almost a Phil-free night, but we're going to be talking with the Citizens Panel. But we have somebody else that we want to talk to right now. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Larry Bubbles Brown, and here he is right now. Hello, Larry.
Hello, Alex. And, I'm fuming over this Equifax debacle.
Why is that? Does it affect you?
Well, it's just like the internet. Is it ever going to be safe? It's incredible, and now they've lost. I forget how many millions of people they hacked into, but
well, it will be safe when people become more like you and don't have a high-speed internet connection and things like that. You know.
So I'm actually safer, but with the dial-up.
You're safer with the dial-up, probably.
Wow.
You know, but no, you're really not, because what's happening is you're still going online. And that is where the problem lies, is that we do all our business now online, and what has become a simpler world for us has become far worse. When I grew up, when I was a boy, I hate saying that because I'm 77, and when you say that, you really sound like an old fart, okay? But when I was a boy, I mean, you didn't have to worry about any of that shit. You got your check, your paycheck, and then if you got to the bank between 9 and 3 in the afternoon when it closed.
Yeah, 3 o'clock, yeah.
You can deposit your check, and then they would give you a receipt for it, okay? And then that money was in your account, and then you wrote checks to take care of it, bills, and you mail them out. Remember how do I have enough stamps this month to mail out all the bills, And it was very simple. It was harder for people to violate that space because you couldn't hack a written check. You couldn't hack a written deposit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were ways of getting people, like if they got money out of the bank and as they were walking out, you take a gun out and hold it up to them and say, "Give me your money." But that was the earliest form of hacking. That was analog hacking. But it as we started to get into the computer age, which I loved, I believe in computers, all of a sudden we started facing these problems. And the problem was, and it was the biggest problem of all, is people hacking. And early on, the hacks were easier than the hacks today, but they're still very good at their hacks. I got to tell you, they're doing some amazing stuff. I have to really put. Oh boy. Yeah, I'll tell you what happened. We were talking about the internet. Wait a minute, he's not there. Phone number is busy. Hold on a second. I'm trying to call him back now. There we go.
Yo.
See, now that's just what I was talking about. In fact, I kept the tape rolling so everybody could hear me calling you back.
You got hacked.
We didn't get hacked. The internet just went garbage, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, where was I?
You said there's some amazing hacks now.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing some amazing hacks. I mean,
but wouldn't you think Equifax and companies that big would have huge protections?
Yeah, but on the other hand, whatever protections they create there is somebody slightly smarter than they are, say in Russia, who know how to get around it. I mean, the best way for us to prevent all of this is to stop doing business on the internet. That would be the best way. And to quit, go back to almost a electronic stone age. But people aren't going to do that.
No.
They want their iPhones and they want their internet clouds and they want all of that. So along with that comes a person who knows how to get around all of those things, who knows how to get through firewalls, who knows how to, game the system. And I've got to take my hat off to them. I mean, these guys are brilliant, whoever they are. I couldn't even know where to begin if I wanted to hack you. Now, you maybe are safer in a lot of ways than a lot of other people, just simply because you use the internet for far less things than I do.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just email, and that's about it.
Well, I shop, online. Amazon is my god. I want a roll of tape. I will order it from Amazon rather than go down to the corner grocery store or whatever to get my roll of tape. But I mean, we live in this complicated world, so something like Equifax is going to happen. What I saw was that the head of security from Equifax quit, and today I saw that the head of Equifax, the CEO, resigned, which I think they shouldn't have had to do, because it's not the CEO of Equifax's fault that somebody managed to get through their system. But they get rid of him to give everybody else confidence in the company again.
Yeah, although I think the thing he did that was bad, I think he sold his stock before they announced that the breach had happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it didn't look good. They knew about it, I think, in May or July, and then didn't release the info till.
Okay, well, if you're a company, let's say you're Equifax, okay, you're the person that has all the information on all the people in America. You have a your credit rating is Equifax, you're rife for this kind of thing, and you may do everything you can to begin with. The CEO of the company, let's just for an example, doesn't know probably how to use a computer except for the escape bar, button. So he trusts other people to be able to handle this and to keep the company protected against hacks. And how does he know who to hire? How does he know who's good and who's bad? So that's part of the problem. Who do you hire to watch out for you? And the fact is that in most cases, best thing to do, for them to do, go hire a hacker.
Exactly. Yeah.
They know more than anybody how to. In fact, that's what happens to a lot of hackers today. Some of these really big-time hackers they catch, instead of throwing them in jail, they let them go take a job with a big company who tells them, okay, here's how you're going to protect yourself, and they become security analysts. And that's who I'd hire, is a hacker. First thing. What have you hacked? Oh, I hacked Equifax. Oh, good. Okay, you're going to be our head of security.
Well, it certainly gives you second thoughts about self-driving cars. What if they hack that system?
Oh, well, they can. I saw a thing on, I think, 60 Minutes or something like that, where they hacked a car that had all this, sophisticated equipment in it, supposedly. I remember the first time I saw that computers were a bad idea was I rented a car, I don't know, from Hertz or something. I was driving through L.A., and all of a sudden the car comes to a dead stop. And I try, turning it on. Nothing happens. It's dead. It's gone. The thing of the past, right? Mm-hmm. And I then called Hertz and said, well, come get your goddamn fucking car because it's not working. And they said, okay, we'll come out and see what's wrong with it. And they looked at it and they said, oh, the computer in the car went bad. And that's the first time I realized that in those days it was just like a chip or something that made something or another go. I suddenly realized this is the trouble with computers. You don't want computers in your car.
No.
You want your car to be as mechanical as is humanly possible. But now you've got everything in there. I mean, you can hack the radio in somebody's car. You can hack the GPS system. You can hack they're not putting, Wi-Fi or 4G in cars so that you can do all your stuff online in the car. Well, once that's in there, people are going to be able to hack those like crazy.
And planes.
Planes, too. I don't know what they do to protect planes now, but they think that some of these plane flights, that went down and disappeared and we never found them, were maybe computer hacks.
Wow.
So, and now what are nations doing to fight other nations and to war against other nations? Hacking. It's believed that the Sony hack, remember the Sony hack a while back where all the letters from Sony, embarrassing letters from producers and stuff showed up, was a hack by the North Koreans in retribution for that movie that Sony released.
Oh, yeah, with Seth Rogen.
With Seth Rogen, and that was... but all I could think of is the North Koreans are capable of hacking.
They can't feed themselves.
Yeah, they can't feed themselves, but somehow they can hack a computer. So I mean, you wonder where all these hacks are coming from, and how realistic these hacks are. So it's really amazing.
We just think if they could hack, they could make it spectacular if they hacked the air traffic control system.
Oh, but you can hack almost any of these things, and you can have firewalls up, but they can go around firewalls. They always find something. There's always sometimes like a pinhole that they can exploit and just go right through and then get into the system. I don't know how these guys do it. My brain is not of that bent where I can even begin to conceive of any of this.
And computers.
And I know it to an extent, but believe me, I stopped when I had this. I could do HTML. I could create a web page by writing it out. Okay, this was before the days where you just drag and drop and it's a very easy job, and it writes the code for you. But I was writing HTML, but when it came to things like C++, which is a language, I couldn't even begin to understand it. I couldn't even. It's like, what Martian can read this stuff? Yeah, and there are people who sit there hacking around, writing it. Blah, 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 kids, C++. I mean, there are other forms of computer language, and they write in a basic computer language. They don't just have put something together and drag and drop. And because what happens now when I do a website, I have a program, for instance, called Quick and Easy Web Builder. Okay, and what I do is I just drag and drop pictures into it and different graphics and audio cues and just things like that. I mean, still it takes a bit of knowing how to run the program. But what the program is doing as you do any of this is it's writing the code you would have had to write, the HTML code you would have had to write in the old days. So it makes it very easy. I don't think I could even write HTML anymore. So, the one thing I can do is if something's really wrong in the page and I can't seem to fix it using the program, I will look at the HTML code and I can look at it and figure out where it is. That I can do.
Well, that's cool.
But, beyond that, I'm a total mess, And I've gotten to the point where I'm beginning to hate computers. I hate Facebook. Absolutely hate Facebook.
No, I wish it would go away.
This program goes out every night on Facebook Live, okay? But also, it's on a page I have, Alex Bennett's Facebook page. And yesterday, I wrote a post. Well, this is a week later, actually, that this is going to run. But a week ago, I wrote a post that said, fuck the American flag and fuck the national anthem. And all of a sudden, I lose about 15 friends, or reputed friends, because Facebook has bastardized the term friends, okay?
Yeah.
And I lost about, 25 followers. And all because I said that. And I explained myself. I said it takes more to kneel during the national anthem than it does to stand for this Pledge of Allegiance, And people left me. And I've gotten to the point where I just said, I'm not writing anything on Facebook anymore. I'm just going to put my show up every night. That's going to be it. No more participation from me. You want to write something on this page, have a good time, And I'm even thinking about taking the people who can watch this program and limiting it only to followers or friends of mine, people who are friends, and not make it as public as it was. So that if you want to follow this program, if you want to watch this program, you're going to have to be a follower, or you're going to have to be a friend. Otherwise, I don't want anybody else to watch it. I've thought about just closing down my Facebook page altogether. I just find it is just too many people out there being insulting and nasty. And when I put something like that up, rather than discuss it, they just get abusive.
Yeah, it's just not a lot of logical arguments are on Facebook.
And Twitter, I'm way too verbose for Twitter. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't say things in 100 and how many characters. Apparently the president can, but then again, he doesn't have deep thoughts.
He's a tweeting master.
He's a tweeting master. Yes. Are you a sports fan?
No, I've lost interest in all sports, so I do. The thing about the national anthem, though, it was they started using it during the World War. I think it was someone said World War I. I thought it was
Actually,
World War II.
it didn't become the national anthem until about 1932, maybe. I may have the year wrong, but I think
then it was World War II. But they felt guilty about playing baseball during the war, so that's when they started playing the national anthem. So they never should play the anthem before. It's a bad song.
Well, we never had a national anthem before about 1932, and they decided to make the Star Spangled Banner the national anthem. So it's not like it's been the national anthem forever. Okay.
And why would you play it before a sporting event anyway?
Well, it's a terrible song. It is a terrible, horrible song. It is. To begin with, it's unsingable. There's a high note in there that nobody
That's what
hits.
I've heard. It's very hard to sing.
In fact, for years, they were using the national anthem as an audition for singers at the Met here in New York. And if you could make that high note nicely, you were in. Secondly, let's remember the history of the national anthem. It is a poem by Francis Scott Key, which was put to the music of a beer-drinking song called Anacreon in Heaven. So we're really, our national anthem, the thing we put our hands to our hearts for, that we don't want people kneeling for, all of that is nothing but a fucking beer song. It is a terrible song. It's terrible because what does it talk about? It talks about war, about bombs bursting in air, and blah, 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 blah. And it's not what we would call a commercial for our country. Whereas something like America the Beautiful is a wonderful song
Much better choice, yeah.
be great as a national anthem. For Spacious Skies, for Amber Waves of Grain. It's a great commercial for the beauty that is our country. But bombs bursting in air gave proof of the night that we still were there. What? Because you dodged a bomb? I mean, it's a ridiculous song to have as a national anthem. If you look at national anthems of other countries, it's, oh, Canada, I mean, they speak about the country. This speaks about war. And it's a terrible song. And as far as
how did we ever adapt that? Jeez.
As far as the flag is concerned, I'm not for anything that's in the front of a group of people that are out in a war to kill other people. I just find the flag so jingoistic, and we don't have the best flag. There are much more interesting flags in the world than ours. But to treat these things as icons is, I think, heresy.
They almost become like religious artifacts. People get that wound up about them. So.
Yeah, they get very wound up about them. And
remember when Roseanne Barr screwed up the national anthem?
Yeah, but look at all the flack she got for screwing it up.
Yeah.
You're making fun of the national anthem. Well, so what? Why not? It's a silly little song, and it's a piece of shit. And it's only 1932, folks. We're not talking about a long-standing. Well, we're getting close to 100 years, but it's 80 years old. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And to make this much, why we don't take a guy like this guy Kaepernick and laud him for what he did and say you were living out America's freedoms by doing what you did. Instead, they want to call him a son of a bitch. The president calls him a son of a bitch. His mother wrote a great tweet. It said, "I'm very." He called Kaepernick basically a son of a bitch. And she wrote, well, this bitch is proud of my son.
That's funny.
I mean, it's just a bit, all the flack over a flag and over these are not the things that should be great in America, and I just, so you made fun of the flag. Or you said, fuck the flag. Oh, I don't want to be your friend on Facebook anymore. Well, fuck you. Go away. I don't want you.
Yeah.
This is how I weed out the stupid. And I was thinking of taking it down to prevent any more damage. And then I just said, no, I can't. There's something in me that says I can't do it. And so I left it up for the whole world to see. Yeah. I'm not going to be like some people and apologize for what was a good behavior by saying it was a bad behavior. So,
yeah,
that bullshit, crap, fuck this whole country. It's just gotten out of hand. This is why I can never be on KGO. The minute I'd say
this would not play well on KGO. Fuck this country.
The minute I would say fuck this country, or not even use the word fuck, just say screw this country. You're idiots.
Fuck this country. Let's go to Bill and Hayward.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go to Bill and Hayward. Yes, Bill. What's on your mind? Well, I don't know, Alex. I disagree with fuck the flag. I don't think fuck the flag is a... And the fact that you can't say fuck on radio is another thing altogether. You can go frig. You can say F word, but you can't say fuck. When you say F word, everybody thinks fuck, so why not say fuck?
Exactly. We're so childish in this.
We live in such a complicated universe, don't we? So anyway, have you been working lately?
I've been working with your old buddy Rob Schneider.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking with Rob
Oh, great. He's,
actually, the interview with Rob will have already run by the time this goes on. But I'm talking to him.
Well, one thing I noticed about Rob, people that are successful, are, man, he works so hard.
He's a hard worker. I mean,
oh, my God, he's unbelievable. Seinfeld said most comics are lazy, and I think he's right.
Well, no, but I think they also live in great fear. Rob realizes that he's one step away from laziness to having nothing. So
he travels like crazy after a show, like 450 people, 500 people. He will stand there and take pictures of everyone for like an hour and a half.
Yeah. Well,
like a politician.
Well, that's the way you do it. You haven't done it that way, and look at where you are. No,
exactly.
I haven't done that either. Look at where I am. So anyway, hey, listen, time has run out, Lawrence.
Yes, and let's just say, fuck this country.
Yeah, fuck the flag, fuck the Star-Spangled Banner, fuck the president.
Fuck the NFL.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say anything about God, because if there is one, and I do meet up with him, well, you know something? If he's the God they talk about, he'll forgive me.
But he's been so mean so far. I don't know.
So far. Thank you, Bubs.
Thanks, Alex.
This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Well, okay, thank you, Bubbles, and well, we were losing some people there. I guess they don't like us talking about the flag that way and about the Star-Spangled Banner. But let me tell you that those things are absolutely true. The Star-Spangled Banner has only been our national anthem since, I think it was 1932, maybe. Yeah, that's the year I seem to remember that hearing that it was first adopted. For years, we never had a national anthem, and there are a lot of better songs than that. And then let's see here. Then also the flag. The flag is, I don't like totems, as it were. If you're a religious person, you should go by the theory that one does not believe in idols and should not worship idols. And when you act like you do about the flag, you're worshiping an idol. So, that's a very unpopular thing, I say, so I'm going to not say it, because people will then go away and disappear and say, I don't want to listen to you. And quite frankly, nobody wants to listen to me anyway. I don't know why I do this every night. It's pathetic, but I do it anyway. It's insanity, because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, getting the same result. And if you want to hear the same result, that's what you're going to get tonight as you listen to us right here with the Citizens Panel, who may or may not call me tonight. Let's see if we start getting any calls. This is where I do what's called in radio vamp. And if I start talking about anything meaningful, then the phone will ring, or the Skype will ring. I keep calling it the phone. The Skype will ring, and I all of a sudden will be, stopped in midstream on what I was saying. Anyway, I'm going to put this on. I like the way this looks. It's a nice look for me. I just can't do it during the summer because it gets so blazingly hot in here. In fact, I have the air conditioning on, and I'm going to turn it off right now. Is this not an exciting program, folks, where I'm saying, hey, I'm turning off the air conditioning now? Right? Anyway, let's see. Is there anything new that I want to talk about? Then maybe I won't just talk to people if they don't call me. You know what happens? A lot of people don't listen to the first half hour. They really don't. I don't know why I go out of my way to get guests, and we've had some good ones lately. We've had Rob Schneider and Penn Jillette, our old friend Will Durst. These are the people we've done with video, so that you could actually see them. But anyway, so I think they're good, and I enjoy Bubs, and I enjoy Stephen Pearl, and I enjoy talking with them. Somehow you want to hear me talk and wait for me to get into some kind of trouble, and I'm not going to do that, okay? Anyway, our number, if you want to call us on Skype, we have a Skype ID, and that is Gabnet Live, GABNETLIVE. Strongly followed by a phone number which you can call that I forget now because it's on. I put it up on the new page. I should remember it. We have a phone number 347-352-0079. By the way, I've been reworking the Gabnet site, and it's looking pretty good, but it's also looking pretty sparse because I've been able to condense everything. Where I used to have a picture of like everybody that has a show, right? It got cluttered. So what I did is I created a thing where there are these animations and they rotate, telling you when the shows are on, and it looks much neater than having all those. But now that left me with a whole blank space on the right-hand side and a whole blank space on the bottom of the middle of the page. And I haven't figured out what to do with those yet. So if any of you have the idea of what I can do with that, like besides the normal suggestion that I shove it up my ass, I'd really like to know. Hey, Jeff Stein is the first one out of the box calling us this evening. Hello to you, my dear friend. How are you?
This is like a double. Ooh, I got to get rid of something there. Call you right back.
You're going to call me right back. Okay, well, somebody else is calling. So I will, while we get rid of Jeff, although Jeff's still on.
Jeff's on.
Jeff's on. Okay, here comes Patrick. Hello, Patrick. There we go. There's the man. Hello there, my dear friend.
Hi.
How be you?
Patrick.
I'm alive and kicking.
You're alive?
Well, no, actually, I'm not kicking because the paralysis.
Yeah,
but
you can't. You can't. There's certain terms you can't use, like kicking it.
Yeah, see a new thing that I say that I catch myself and other people catch it. It's not meant to be a joke because, just like I said, alive and kicking, and then it becomes a joke because once I realize what I've said,
Okay, so when somebody asks how are you, you can say I'm alive but not kicking.
Right, exactly.
See, and that would actually be a funny joke.
Yeah.
Rather
than sharp. So.
Rather than a faux pas on your part.
Yeah.
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 Boy, you're not a very good cripple. You know that, don't you?
I know. I don't represent the cripple community.
You really don't.
Boy, I just say, well, as soon as I walk in, it's getting deep in here already.
Yeah. We don't have your picture, though, Mike.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. You got to turn the... Yeah, there we go. Wait a minute. Go back to the picture. No, that's okay.
Okay.
I'm just a terrible person. Anyway, how have you been, Patrick? Because we haven't heard from you in about a week, because you said you weren't going to call for about a week. So, true to your form, you didn't call for a week. But here you are.
And here I am. Well, I wouldn't have really been able to call anyway because I got a UTI last week.
Oh, really? A UTI? Now, you got to realize it's not fun being crippled. You get all these things because of it's usually these UTIs you wouldn't have normally if you had all your stuff working, right?
Oh, the urinary tract infection is because I urinate. So every time I
wait a minute, hold on a second, Mike. Move your microphone away from your mouth a little bit. You're breathing right into it, and it's there we go. Yeah. Anyway,
every time I take a leak, I gotta put a catheter in.
Yeah.
So you're bringing dust and you're bringing everything else in, but I'm very lucky that I only get UTIs maybe about once every 18 months or so. So in about the 15 years I've been paralyzed, I've gotten maybe 15 urinary tract infections.
Yeah.
So I get the antibiotic and it knocks it out. But
why don't they invent something for your catheterization? Okay, because he has to stick a hose in himself. Okay, all right. He has to extend his penis. How's that?
That would be even better. Yes.
And I wish sometimes that I did have one of those catheters, because there's nothing worse, and I hate to talk about this because you have to do this standing, of trying to take a pee with a hard-on in the morning. Because you can't stand back far enough from the toilet, and then you have to figure the trajectory of that. Either that or wait for that hard-on to go down, but one of the reasons you've got the hard-on is because you have to take a wicked piss.
Well,
women, by the way, women, if you're listening, these are things guys never tell you. Okay, go.
Let me tell you this, Albert.
Yeah.
Trying to thread a catheter in while you have a hard-on is not very easy.
Really?
Yeah.
You would think it would be easier.
No, because of, remember, it's not a straight in. It goes up and down.
Let me put it this way. No problem. If I had a hard-on and then I had to put a catheter in it, I'd lose my hard-on. There's no question about it.
Oh yeah, you probably would.
Yeah.
That for sure.
Yeah.
So. That wouldn't be the most convenient.
You want me to tell you a little interesting catheter fact?
Sure.
Imagine, and you tuned into this program to get catheter facts, right, ladies and gentlemen? Here's a catheter fact for you. In the old days, when guys got gonorrhea, it wasn't, they couldn't cure it because it, they didn't have antibiotics. And then when antibiotics came along, hey, you get the clap and go get it again if you wanted to. But guys would get, as a result, a scarred urethra, and it would be very hard for them to urinate, so they would have to carry around a catheter in order to take a leak. So what they would do is they would wear brimmed hats and keep the catheter in the brim of the hat. Did you know that? You look like you were getting ready for me to say that, Jeff, and that you knew where I was going with that. But in the old days, they did that.
This is a new life.
See, I told you a fact you never knew.
I never knew.
I heard it when I was a kid, actually. Because some guy my father knew or something had one of these catheters, and he kept it in his hat.
In his hat.
Yeah, in the brim of his hat. So, yeah. It gives a whole new meaning to fedora, doesn't it? Yeah. So, anyway.
When you take your hat off, didn't you lose? What were you going to do with your catheter if you have it in your hat?
Well, wouldn't it be embarrassing to tip your hat to a woman and have the catheter fall out? That would be.
Yeah. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Flop. Oh.
Yeah. Don't worry, ma'am. I only have gonorrhea.
It'll clean out once in a while. It'll clean out.
Yeah. But I also know a lot about the history of syphilis too. If you want to hear that one. What?
Just keep going.
Just keep going. I'm on a roll.
I mean, you've got a ton of information.
Let's see. How many people are left watching this? Hold on a second. I got to get off my newly minted website here. Hold on a second. Let me see here, because I want to see how many people we lose. No, actually, we've gained people with this discussion. So let me get to syphilis, folks. They couldn't cure syphilis. Syphilis was a terrible killer. The reason the reason syphilis was terrible was because it was a silent enemy. You would get it. You would come down with lesions or whatever, and then they would go away. And then about 20 years later, you wake up in the morning and you're blind, or you can't walk, or it was called the Great Imitator. is what syphilis was called. And because they couldn't figure out what's wrong with this guy. Well, he may have had syphilis. We don't know, but maybe he just went blind. We don't know. And that was that was how that one it came to be. But anyway, one of my favorite movies is a movie starring Edward G. Robinson. And you probably have missed it. Have missed it on something like Turner Classic Movies or whatever.
I'm going to call you back.
Oh, good. We can hardly wait, Tony. But it's called. You probably might have missed it because the title just doesn't. It's the worst title for a movie ever. It was called Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet. And it's
Battlefield Earth.
Well, Battlefield Earth is actually a better title than. I mean, if I say to you, Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet, what do you say? What, he invented a new gun?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a strange title for a film, but so one night I said, they're going to show Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet. I think I'll watch this. This should be hilarious, whatever it is. And it was the story about the guy who found the cure for syphilis. And he literally found that using a certain substance, I think it might have been mercury, I can't remember, could kill syphilis. And it was an early version of ways of solving. Today we solve syphilis with antibiotics, but in those days they didn't have antibiotics. But he had this thing, and I think it was mercury-based, but it saved countless lives because people, when they got syphilis, they were doomed eventually to a rather hideous death. Sometimes you get paresis, which was a mental disorder due to syphilis.
Al Capone died of that, right?
Yes,
yeah,
he did. And at the end of the movie, he's put on trial because a couple of people that he gave his magic bullet to died. And he said, and the defense he used was, yes, but you're not counting the biggest death of them all. And they said, who was that? What was that? He said, the death of syphilis. He said, these people would have died anyway. We saved a lot of people, and maybe some people did die, but, and they let him go. And he's known as, his name is Dr. Ehrlich, and he was the first guy to cure syphilis. Now, there are other ways of curing it now that don't require what was a fairly ugly treatment, but
you would think, though, the mercury compound what they used back then, that almost made you almost kill you.
I may be wrong. I just seem to remember in the movie that it was something they did with mercury, or a slight amount of mercury that was introduced into the system. But if anybody is there with a computer who can look it up, damn it, Scott isn't here. It'd be a good way if somebody could find out what exactly happened there and what made it work. Wait a minute, did somebody write anything? No, somebody, what, dioxydomino something, I don't know. Tim Albright says, why didn't Trump take a truckload of Trump water to hand out in Puerto Rico? Oh, another one. Call up with that one, Tim. I don't know what. No, nobody seems to know what the compound was that Dr. Ehrlich created. But I kind of came up with that. So now that I've run out of gonorrhea and syphilis, what can I go on to? Because those are two diseases that when you mention them, people go, ugh.
You're very lovely diseases.
Or BD.
Well, several times I got the clap in the early days. Somehow as the years went on, less and less. I got the clap less and less, even though I was having more sex than I had ever had. So I think that it kind of got wiped out in a lot of ways. Because when you get it, you've got it. And women don't know they've got it, but guys really know they've got it. Anybody here had the clap besides me? Oh, too bad. Because at least you got laid to get it, But anyway, I would go to a doctor, and doctor would give me some, give me a shot of penicillin, and that was it. Knocked it right out. But I got it this one time, and it was on a Sunday, and I said, no, it was like on a Monday, but I decided I wanted to go to the health people, to go down to their facility rather than pay a doctor, right?
Clinic, right?
Well, it wasn't a clinic. It was actually the Board of Health, the New York City Board of Health, and they had a place you could go. And so I went, and everybody there had to clap, which I thought was a wonderful kind of
camaraderie,
bonding and camaraderie, that all of us could get together in the same room for the same purpose, to knock out this horrible thing. So I'm sitting there waiting to see a doctor, which is taking interminably long because there are about 10 other people there. And I look at the back of the chair in front of me, and I swear to you, this is indelible in my mind. I see it to this very day. Some guy had taken a magic marker and written on the back of it, "Bob was here and will be back." But that isn't the best part of the story. They then call me. A guy calls me in. He called me. Oh yeah, you got well, you might just have a. There was a thing that was a lot like clap, but it was in fact. What group actually wrote a song about it? It was called Nonspecific Urethritis, NSU. So he didn't know whether it was NSU or whether it was a clap. And as he's got me there with my trousers down around my knees or my feet or wherever they were in my underpants, looking at my penis, he says to me, "Look, do you mind if we do something?" And I said, "What?" He said, "Well, there's some students here who are watching how we handle cases like yours. And they're here today to look in on these things. Would you mind if they joined us?" And I thought to myself, I've never been a subject of science. And if I can do something to take one step further to eradicate gonorrhea, so be it. So I said, sure. And he said, okay, come on in. And 20 people walked in as I'm standing there with my pants down and my dick dripping.
Were you embarrassed?
Hey, it's something like that. You go beyond embarrassment. You just go, I thought you meant 2 or 3 guys were going to come in and look, but there were like 20 guys, and I think they were all Chinese, if I'm not mistaken, or Asian.
That was like, you're right. I mean, you probably would be like 2 or 3 people to like doctors or something.
Yeah, well,
He brought the fucking waiting room in now.
Huh?
He brought the waiting room in. You must have been like, oh my God, what did I get into?
By the way, we're being joined by Tom Yamaguchi. Hello, Tom.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Patrick has his hand up here. Let Patrick have his say. Yes, Patrick.
I've been through that a number of times with student nurses and student doctors, and the way that I always look at it is I would rather they get a good education.
Yeah.
And, working off of a mannequin or whatever doesn't do it. So yeah. I figure I lost my shame or my, whatever you want to call it, years and years and years and years ago. So, if there are 20 people in a room looking at me naked, and they're doing whatever procedure, that's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me in the least.
Doesn't bother you in the least, right? Exactly. But so those are that's my history and stories of gonorrhea and syphilis. Did you know anything about this, Tom? About the guy who, Dr. Ehrlich?
I went online and I have a terrible pronouncing. I actually posted it to your Facebook feed, but it looks like it's arsphenamine. It's ARPHE.
Yeah.
NAMINE.
Oh, is that what you were trying to put down there? Yeah, let me see here.
I just posted it on Facebook for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both did.
But
yeah.
it contained aspartame or something, and it had no mercury. It had no mercury in it. Okay.
Alex?
Yeah, it's amazing that it starts with the word ass. Anyway, what?
Alex, it's me, Charlene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, your story made me think of a story that was similar for a woman. When I had my son, like they do this when you're in the hospital, when maybe another woman has told you this already, but like when you give birth, like when the head is crowning and all that, they bring everybody in, and they bring all these students and everything, and they all come rushing in, and it's like all these people you don't know, And I had this one Asian guy, because you were saying Asians or something, one Asian guy was there, and he was a young guy, and he said to me, listen, he says, when we tell you to push, keep pushing, because every time you push, you stop pushing, the head goes back. So I'm like thinking in my head, I didn't say it to him. I should have. I should have said, listen, I want to see you lay down here and do this and tell me how I'm going to do this.
Told me, give me a number 3. Come back.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
Well, no, what you want to do is you want to give the kid like an amusement ride, and just in and out until he finally comes out.
I mean, he's never going to have to do it, so he could tell me how to do it. I was like, oh my God, but it was okay,
Yeah.
But they all come rushing in, and you're like, who the hell are these goddamn people,
But anyway, so
yeah.
So anyway, so we know now that there was no mercury in what Dr. Ehrlich came up with, but I don't think we use that today. And you're right, it is
Don't they put mercury in tuna fish?
Well, here's the name that Tom put up. Arsphenamine. Asphenamine?
I thought you said you got an Emmy.
Boy,
yeah. It's arsphenamine.
What's it
what
called?
What is that?
Sounds like arsenic.
Yeah.
But he's the first one to coin the phrase chemotherapy, I think.
Really?
Who, Dr. Ehrlich?
Yeah, that's what it said on Wiki.
Oh, really? And why did he call his thing for syphilis chemotherapy?
Yeah, but the arsphenamine is the way it was administered, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Okay. I put a link on there, but I've lost the internet has been very, very slow to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, well, it looks like William Ferguson is pronouncing it out. It's arsphenamine. Arsphenamine.
Okay, now, folks, be sure that you pay attention to this, because you never know when you're going to be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and that's the $1 million question.
I think that's a Jeopardy one. That name is so hard to pronounce, right?
Well, that's too hard a question for Jeopardy. I mean, for those Jeopardy questions, but with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, when they get up to like 100,000, 200,000,
they get really hard.
They like to ask questions nobody could answer,
right?
Because they don't want to give away that money,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway.
So, I thought of something today. I was trying to catch up on, the thing we were talking about yesterday with the guy and the shooting.
Yeah.
Now, did you, we didn't mention it last night. Did anybody, there was a picture of him, the first picture with green hair. Like, am I crazy or
I didn't see any pictures of him with green hair.
Really?
No.
His hair looked green or something. And now today, they say the father is the psychopath. I think last night we mentioned that a little or something, right?
The father in the family is a psychopath.
He was a bank robber. He was
on the FBI
top 10 most wanted list.
Oh, I didn't hear that part of it. That's why he was a psychopath. Then.
He was in the top 10 most wanted list. Wow.
Well, most wanted list back in the late 60s.
Wow.
But
at least it's nice to be wanted.
He was never found.
He got away with it?
Yeah.
Oh.
He may be dead by now, but
he is dead. No, he
This guy,
escaped from prison and then he was caught.
So far, this guy seemed pretty normal.
But now they're looking into his background. They're going into his his father.
No, but his father could have been crazy, but he.
Right. There's nothing wrong.
Everybody goes. He was so normal. They were gobsmacked that this guy did what he did.
He was obsessed with video poker, though. He spent a lot of money on video poker.
Yeah, so I knew a guy that was obsessed with video poker, and he didn't go around shooting
I'm just saying
anybody.
something physical or mental or chemical or an infection or medication has triggered him to go down into become psychotic syphilis very quickly. That can happen to people.
Maybe syphilis or something.
By the way, we already have a full house.
Hey.
Yeah.
Any flushing? Is it Phil Free night or
John Rockwell? No, it isn't. He might call later, but we might not have room for him.
It's an involuntary Phil Free night.
Yeah,
involuntary. Hey, Alex, I looked up chemotherapy.
Yeah.
In Wikipedia, underneath it does credit Paul Ehrlich for coining the phrase and using it for the first time for that type of treatment.
Well, it is chemical therapy after all.
Yeah, it's not a pill, and it's you have to have multiple doses.
Yeah.
Of mercury? Mercury?
No, he said no. They said
arseniamine.
It replaced mercury as a treatment, basically.
Mercury, now that's what it was. Mercury was a treatment. It was killing people like crazy.
Right, because it will kill you, mercury, yeah.
And this one's more organic. This is a more organic one.
Yeah.
My father was given platinum, yeah.
Right.
That doesn't sound too tasty either, right? I don't think they do that anymore, do they?
Well,
my mom took lithium. That was pretty nasty.
Oh, that ruined a lot of people. I had a therapy with a lithium survivor.
All this medicine, I'm sure, is ruining people. On some level.
They test it and they don't even know that, and then they say, "Oh, God, this is killing people."
My ex-wife is going through chemotherapy right now. What they're doing once every week is poisoning her.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
What did they give her? Did she say?
Well, it isn't what they gave her. They gave her whatever chemo is. I don't know what's in that.
Oh, she didn't get into that.
But it's supposed to kill the cancer cells, but it also kills everything else.
Right, a lot of other things.
So it's not.
Which is why you get so sick from those treatments, right?
Yeah, well, she hasn't gotten sick so far, so we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Yeah, she's been lucky and stuff. Yeah, I know.
It's sort of like carpet bombing. You get the cells, but you might get a few million other ones in the way.
Exactly.
That's the problem with it.
Alex, I'm a lot like you. I had some blood work done, and they told me that my hemoglobin is not good. So now I'm thinking, oh my God, what do I have? Like, what's that thing? Oh God, not tuberculosis. Not hemophilia. When children get like leukemia, I'm like, oh my God, maybe I have leukemia or something. And I'm like, I want, I just get like that.
Wait a minute, they told you that your hemoglobin was what, low?
Yeah, like there's not enough oxygen or in my blood or something, right?
Okay, so what do they do for it?
Well, that's why I have to see the doctor. I haven't gone back yet to see.
They probably,
I'm assuming
probably take a bicycle pump and they,
Right, but I think I'm going to.
Do you know anything about this, Jeff? Because you were in the medical business about hemoglobin, local hemoglobin. I've never heard of that.
That's red blood, right? Red blood.
I think you got to have good blood, and if you have some kind of a disease, it can affect your
I know. See, I'm right.
Immediately.
See? Wow.
So this is something that
a minor.
That's a good thing for a doctor to test immediately.
Yeah. What were you saying, Tim?
I would maybe think of The Good Doctor, the brand new show about the autistic Doogie Howser. Has anybody watched that?
No.
What's the deal on that? I wanted to know. Yeah.
It's like Doogie Howser, but he comes as a surgeon.
An autistic doctor. Yeah.
Well, it's more like what was that one with you, Lori House? Because it's done by the same guy who did House. So it's it's a mentally challenged doctor. It's another one of those.
And he's a kid.
Communication is his problem. He doesn't communicate right.
Yeah.
Oh,
He has a genius mentality and can see things and cure things, people or do procedures and that sort of thing. So that's why they.
Then you have the opposite of that, wisdom of the crowd, with
Yeah,
Jeremy
right.
Piven.
Yeah, that's another weird
pretty
one.
good too.
You know, I haven't watched that
watched
yet.
that.
I
I
have them
watched that.
banked to watch them. Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, a little question for Sherwin. Did they put a little device on your finger?
Oh, pulse ox, that thing? No,
Yeah.
they haven't been doing that. They should be doing that now. Put a pulse ox.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
Just you
that
can
because
follow
my
your
mother gets
density.
that. Yeah, my
You can
mother's into all
density.
that.
Wait a minute. A little thing they put on your finger every now and then when you go into the doctor? What is
Yeah.
that? Does that check your pulse? Is that what it is?
And oxygen level sometimes,
Oxygen,
right?
It tells you the oxygen content.
You can,
Of
yeah,
your
'cause
blood.
it shines a light through there, and you can see
Oh, really?
how much, how strong your red blood count is and things like that. Or at least basically whether your blood is oxygenated as well as it should
And
be.
it goes by numbers, like from
Yeah.
100 down. And like, if you're like, you've got a 20, you're really bad. There's nothing.
Yeah.
No oxygen, right?
Usually you're
Pretty soon
in the
they're going to have a
90s.
wearable. They're going to have a wearable, so soon you'll be able to wear something and see it on your iPhone.
Like
Well,
a Fitbit thing, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's where Apple seems to be
Right now.
going, is medical at this point. They're trying to get that watch to be able to do a lot of stuff. Your pulse.
Oxygen level,
Yeah.
sugar, blood sugar
Yeah.
levels.
Yep.
Wow, that's good, yeah.
So,
It'll be just like Star Trek.
yeah, and it'll only cost $1,000 a watch for you to save your life. You know,
Yeah,
I
Dr.
mean,
McCoy had an instrument, right? That not tricorder. What was
The
it called?
tricorder had a lot of that too, but
And then the Russians will hack into those and tell us we're sick when we're not.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well,
My pacemaker is checked every day, right through automatically while I'm asleep.
I know. I hear you talk about that,
Yeah.
Jeff. That's amazing. My aunt had a pacemaker, and no one could understand. My mother and my aunt, they were like, finally they got it. That like she had to take. They did it through the phone, so she didn't have to go to the office. They were able to do it through the phone, and then finally.
That's what I'm doing. It's through the
Yeah,
phone.
yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great way.
yeah, they gave me
Every
a blood
once in a while, I
pressure-
get a call though. Show up.
Oh, that was like my sleep apnea machine would text me and tell me that something was wrong, and it drove me nuts. It would talk to me and tell
My
me like,
sleep apnea machine got me kicked off of Medicare.
What?
Well, I actually talked to a lady who was trying to get a CPAP, and she had trouble using it, and she didn't use it enough, and Medicare said
they
that
took
you
it
can't
away
have
from
it.
me.
Welcome
right?
to
They took it away from me.
welcome to
Yeah.
Alex Bennett's waiting room. We have some magazines
That's
you can
right.
read if you want to. You know.
I love.
Is there
the medical
anybody here
stuff.
who isn't diseased? You know.
I'm feeling better.
I think the healthiest person of the group is Patrick.
Might be.
Huh? Might be. No, it definitely is. I mean, I don't know if I have anything or not. I'm supposed to go get a blood test this month on my PSA and see if it's gone up or whatever. But outside of that, I was mentioning last night. Let's talk about it, folks. I don't care if this sounds like old folks in God's waiting room talk. I was talking about last night that I've had more trouble with my insurance company with one little drug.
Oh, yeah.
My doctor, in my last checkup, found that my cholesterol had gone sky high in spite of the fact that I was taking a statin. Now, I've since realized in counting all my pill bottles that I had an extra pill bottle of the statin, and probably I forgot to put it in with all my other pills. I put them in that day of one a day little pill things.
Right.
I probably forgot to put it in that month, and that's the reason it went sky high. But he gave me a thing called Zetia, which is supposed to help the statin by about 20%. So I went, okay, well, give it to me. What the hell, until we find out what this whole thing is about. And it was $10, so, copay. About 4 months in, all of a sudden my insurance company says, well, you have to get approval from the insurance company. So my doctor goes and gets, what do they call it, pre-authorization?
Prior
authorization from the insurance company. And I go in, and now it's $35.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, then 2 months go by that way with the $35, maybe 3 months. And all of a sudden I look online because I'm ordering my pills, what's going to cost me this month? And it says $265 for the Zetia. So I call the insurance company and they say, oh, yeah, well, we've just tacked on an extra charge when you don't get the what do you call it, the generic.
Right. Oh, sure.
Well, the generic, I said, how much is the generic? They said $75. In fact, they told me that when it was still $35. They said, well, you can go to the generic and it's probably cheaper. I said, how much is the generic? And they said, my God, it's more than ours for copay. So anyway, I finally went to the generic, and instead of paying $75, it turns out it's $55. But it's like they're holding your heart hostage.
Right.
They're holding, I mean, I don't think that I have that high cholesterol. I think it was the month somehow I found it. I said, what's this extra bottle of my statin doing here? And it's probably because I didn't use it. Right.
Alex, it's funny that you say that because I got accused of having an extra bottle hanging around in my house today with my pharmacy. I'm on losartan, right, for high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And when I try to get my refill, she said to me, the insurance isn't going to pay. It's too early. So you'll have to pay if you need it. Don't you have it in your car somewhere? You signed for it. You picked it up. I said, I don't have it. So I'm arguing with them because, I know I've been taking it.
What happens here? Here's a good question. What happens if you lose your bottle of pills? Let's say you're going home and you get it and it falls out of your purse or whatever.
You got to pay for it in my pharmacy.
Yeah. How do you get it except once a month? All I'm saying is I told the people at Oxford, I said, you want me to die, don't you? I mean, basically, you want me to die, and I was being nice to this person because this person was saying to me, really, I sympathize with you, but I said, yeah, I know, and you can't do anything about it. This is just the way this fucking company works. He said, I know, and he was sympathetic.
I assuaged my people in the pharmacy, and I said, don't take it personal. I'm not angry at you. I'm just angry at your system. And I said, I know. But then I got so angry that I tried to nicely tell her, don't start telling everyone because I'm older that I have it laying around the house somewhere. And I just, like she was making me feel like I'm like 89 years old and I lost my mind.
Well, the thing with like this whole thing with Zetia is my question would be, and this is a good one. Let's say I really needed the Zetia to do away with my to help my cholesterol. And let's say I have a stroke as a result of not being able to afford it because they jumped the price too high. Because I don't want to come up with the $265 for Zetia, right? I'd obviously be dead. Can my forebearers, my afterbearers or whatever, can they sue the insurance company for killing me?
Right, like wrongful death.
Yes, Patrick has his hand up.
Yeah, I forget, this was a few years ago, I forget what it was for, but I had a script that I could not get a generic for, and it was a temporary thing, and it cost me let's say $250 for a month worth of whatever it was.
What is this stuff made out of? Gold?
Well, right, but here's the thing. I dropped 2 of the pills on the floor in the bathroom, right near the toilet. I picked them up and I put them back in the fucking bottle because you know what?
Right.
I'm not gonna pay $80 for 2 other pills because one of the things they will do is if you miss some pills, they'll give you like a week worth, but you're paying like $40 or $50 for 5 pills. And I thought, you know what? If there's any piss dribble, it's mine. It's fine. So I threw it back in the bottle and said, fuck it.
Well, here's the thing that gets me. You had this guy, and I can't remember his name now, but he was the guy who had the AIDS drug and then jumped the price up like, what, 5?
Shkreli, yeah.
Yeah, Shkreli. And I don't know how much it went up, maybe 15, 20 times, something like that.
Yeah,
it went from, it went up to about $500 a month from something like
12 or 15.
10% or something like that.
But, you know, you begin to wonder, how bad is Scarelli compared to Oxford? Or how bad is Scarelli compared to, like I was taking this thing for IBS that was $300 a couple of years earlier, and then all of a sudden jumped to $2,100 for a month's supply. Now, my question is, hi, Brian, how are you? My question is, I mean, how bad was Scarelli? I mean, isn't Oxford and isn't United Health and all these other people that are withholding drugs back from you because they're too expensive? Hey, I made a deal with you. I'm paying you insurance, and if I get sick and I need an expensive pill, then you owe it to me to pay for it. That's what I bought the insurance for. We made a bet, you and I'm winning. Or losing, however you want to proceed.
The model is all wrong. They make money when you don't get well, and that's why you should always find a health insurance company that's owned by your life insurance company. They have the vested interest in keeping you alive.
And by the way, we have a royal flush now. We have, we have with me 11 people.
Alex, I'm so bad. I've actually got my cardiologist. I asked the girls in the office. They said, come in and see. I'm going to ask him if he has any samples of something like losartan, that I need 18, they told me, to tide me over until like I can get the next bottle. Aren't I bad that I'm like, I just won't pay, you know? I said, it's the principle of the thing.
Jeff had his hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Alex, I was going to say, if you lose your pills and things, the one thing you could do is go to Canada, because their prices are substantially supposed to be
but you still
less.
You still have to have a prescription, but there's no reason
and
why.
I thought you couldn't import drugs from Canada on account of the fact that wolves in sheep clothing Democrats like Cory Booker voted against it.
Well, I think you can do it if you buy them for yourself while you're in Canada.
Okay. There's a loophole, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
do they check your luggage or something, like, you know, to see if you're smuggling it when you go in and out? Like if you had a car, or in the airport, would they check your?
Well, I just think it's disgusting. Okay, just purely disgusting. And there's no Phil here to tell me I'm wrong. But Patrick, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, Patrick. I mean, aren't these insurance companies killing people when they say, "Oh, you can't have that drug. It's too expensive. We don't pay for it." Huh? Yeah, absolutely, he said.
I agree with you. I mean,
sometimes
wait a minute.
I have to get my doctor to renegotiate with the drug company to give me.
Yeah, I know.
To allow me to take the pills.
To get the pre-authorization.
Is that that's the
Patrick?
Right?
Patrick is trying to say something. He's a little low tonight, so. William Ferguson is calling. I don't think I can add you. I cannot add you. I'm sorry.
You want me to hang up?
You want to hang up?
Nah. If he calls back again and maybe you want to hang up.
He's been contributing a lot of great stuff on your Facebook page.
Yeah, okay. William, try again because the only reason is that I don't have the room. If I...
Okay, I'm going to hang up.
Well, okay. All right. Then I can call William back, actually. Hold on a second, folks. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of Tom here. Thanks, Tom. We appreciate that. William Ferguson. Let me call him. Oh, add him to the contacts. Well, that's one thing we should do. And let me see if can I call. Are the rest of you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay, the rest of you there. Well, I can't call him back because he hasn't. Add to group call. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let me see here if it's calling him. We'll see what happens. I do know that he signed back on. So there you are, William Ferguson. We have his picture. Hello, William. Are you there? I have his picture. That's all. I'm not getting him.
I don't see him.
Yeah, I don't see him either.
Oh, well.
Oh, well, I'm trying. There we go. Add to
Embarrassment
call.
of riches. Too many people.
There we go. Hello, William. Are you there? William.
Unmute.
Call failed. Removed from group. Okay, I'll let him call back again. Try one more time there.
One more time.
I'll say it one more time. Do it one
I
more
do
time.
have a comment or two about the drug companies themselves, where it's interesting that I've seen on Facebook people are arguing about how bad our drug policy is and everything else, or drug companies, where the drug companies sell the drugs in other countries for a lot less than they sell here. We are the ones that are paying the most for the drug company, and the drug companies that are based in America. But we are, I think it's because they are allowed to do so. There's no regulation. There's no single payer. There's no government saying, let's make a deal. They can charge anything they damn well want to, and they changed them all. That guy Martin Shkreli, whatever, he had no problem changing it. It's just public opinion said, "Screw you, Martin."
That's fairly consistent with current
Pharma bro.
with American ethos, American business ethos. I was going to say in the 21st century, but that's always been the case. I mean,
Well, a friend of mine years ago, a friend of mine lived down in Philadelphia, was working as a salesperson for a drug company, one of the big ones like Cyril or Lilly or something like that. And she finally, after a few years of doing it, called me up and said, I'm getting out of that business. In fact, I'm going to go to cooking school. I'm going to be a chef. I said, why is that? She said, I got tired of lying.
By the way, William Ferguson, I'm trying to call you back because we do have the ability to have you on now, and apparently he's not picking up. But there's his picture if anybody wants to see what he looks like. So.
Yeah. I don't even get that, but that's
you don't even get that
small. I got a small screen here. I don't know. Maybe that's the back screen doesn't cover the.
It's on the Facebook, but it's not on our screen.
It gave up.
I'm looking. I'm not looking. I'm looking on the Skype screen.
Yeah.
But no. Well, the other thing the thing I got stuck with last year, right before I went into the hospital, and thank goodness got my non-generic drug changed back to a generic, which is going to cost me a lot less. But I got stuck by getting into the, what do they call it, the drug donut hole, where the insurance company pays for a certain amount, so many $1,000. Then from like $5,500 to like for another $5,000 or $6,000, they don't have to pay for any of it.
Yeah.
You then have to pay the whole thing until you come out of the hole at the other end.
Yeah.
I guess the idea was that they'll pay for you if you don't have to take a lot of drugs, but if you really are stuck with lots of things, there's going to be a point where they say, hey, we can't, you're not paying enough in insurance premiums to cover that much drug use.
By the way, we've been joined by William Ferguson. Hello, William. How are you?
Hello, Alex. Good evening.
Can you turn on your camera?
Apparently not.
Why?
I'm not
sure.
Turn
it off and on, it might go back on. Like you've had to happen.
You can click your camera on and off if you can do that.
Skype.
Yeah, apparently I don't have that option.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It happened to me once or twice when I first started showing up here. The camera itself just said, can't. It didn't even have a little camera. Well,
it could be because he's the 11th person here or something. So that could
be too.
So just jump in when you want to, Bill, please.
All right.
Or do you like to be called William or Bill?
Oh, I'll answer either or, Alex.
Okay, then Fido. Let's try that, Fido.
Okay.
Anyway, no, what you were saying, John, is there's a donut hole, and this was because nobody wants to give away anything for free. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you buy your insurance, you buy your medical insurance, that's Part D. I don't know how much do you pay for it?
I take it out of the Social Security, but it's 100 and something. It's not a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's not a lot.
It's United Healthcare, one of the AARP ones, even though I don't belong to AARP.
Oh, okay.
And they said, "Oh, you don't have to belong to that to be." And I said, "Good. I'm not interested in them." So they haven't. I know.
But anyway, here's the point. Here's the point. You hit the donut hole. Now, is that donut hole based on the cost of the drug as opposed to the copay?
Yeah, it's the total amount of cost of the drugs through that year until the end of the year, and then you go back to the next, go back to the next year.
And
because I didn't have it hit me until October.
And what is the what point do you have to hit for the donut hole to start?
I can't remember. It's so many thousand. I can't remember how many thousand. It's a couple of thousand more. But at that point, there's between that $5,000 or $6,000 or $1,000 and like about another 10,000 or 8,000 more in that hole there. They don't have to pay for anything, it looks like. Or at least it's minimal.
I think the donut hole's only like...
The copay is incredibly less.
Hold on a second. The donut hole, I think, is only like...
While you're doing that, no, what I did was I was put on Xarelto instead of warfarin. And for about a year and a half, 2 years. And, it was great. I didn't have to go and get blood samples every month. I didn't, it seemed to be just fine. But it was about the copay, a regular copay during the beginning of the year was, I guess, I can't remember, it was like $40 or $45 for a month, which is not great when you think that that generic statin drugs are $1 a month, copay. So, and the warfarin was about a couple dollars. It was $2 a month.
That's cheap, yeah.
Yeah, but I figured, well, it's fine. But then I go in like October, and they said, it went from like 45 to 95, and next month it'll be 165. I said, well, why is that? Well, you're hitting the donut hole.
Okay, for 2017, the donut hole is triggered when the Medicare Part D subscribers' total retail drug costs reach $3,700.
It's that low. Okay.
$3,700.
Tell them to fuck your donut hole and that there's no green.
They should call it an asshole instead of a donut hole.
The trigger amount is based on the retail negotiated cost of the medication, not what you actually pay at the pharmacy. Additionally, the combined cost includes your deductible, which is $400 for 2017. Wow, this is a bad deal.
Oh, yeah.
Each drug can have a different... Okay. The donut hole is the insurance coverage gap between $3,700 and $4,950, where the subscriber is responsible for 100% of the prescription drug cost. So that means that once you hit $3,700, you go another $1,200 of taking cash out of your own pocket.
My $1,200, right? Definitely.
Yeah.
So I was very happy.
From, Alex?
What?
You know where that came from, don't you?
I'll take a wild guess. You're going to say Trump? I don't know.
No. Bush would not negotiate with the pharmaceuticals.
Well,
and they had to gouge the benefits. They did a benefit package that was reasonable and gouged the center out of it, where the meat of the money was, because they would negotiate lower prices.
Yeah, the fact was that they made part of the Medicare Part D law that the government could not negotiate with the drug companies on price. So,
it's like the law where they told Trump he had to impose the Russian sanctions, which he hasn't done yet.
Yeah, well, I would probably let's see here. My Cialis, I think, is $175 a month retail. So that's $1,700. It's $2,000 there. I think I may be able to not hit the donut hole, or just barely hit the donut hole with all.
Well, now that I'm back on warfarin, which they put me on after my heart failure, pleurisy, whatever thing that I had back in November.
Yeah.
Mostly because they said it was easier to handle if I had another problem. Xarelto is harder to get off of and change to heparin or something, whatever it is. And I said, fine, because I don't mind. I just went to the the lab on Monday, and they zip a little blood out of you, and then I go back in the beginning of November, and the copay on that is like $9, so it's like overall I'm about about 10 or 12 bucks a month. I'm my INR rate is heart.
Okay.
The blood thing is beautiful, and I'm doing good.
Yes, Brian's got his hand up.
Oh, I figure the question I'm about to ask Tim might have be better able to answer this, but it's up for anybody. But wasn't when Medicare Part D was passed or ratified through the House, wasn't that at the time when Dennis the Kid Diddler Hastert was in charge.
Well, it was back in the early 60s. I don't know.
I'm talking about Medicare. I thought Medicare Part D was under George W. Bush.
You mean Part D?
Yeah,
it might have
Dennis
been
Hastert, the Kid Diddler. He was the Speaker of the House at the time, wasn't he?
He was a kid. He's a kid diddler.
I'm gonna keep saying. There's a reason why I keep repeating myself in saying that, because it's the pussy left, and I agree with Alex on this. The pussy left needs to start hammering shit like this.
Well, the liberals are the pussy left. The leftists are okay, but anyway.
Hey, dude, you fucked your wife over while she was in cancer treatment. Denny, you fucked kids, and
wait a minute. No, that wasn't. No, wait a minute. No.
Anthony Weiner desered what he got.
No, it wasn't Hastert. It wasn't Hastert that did that. That was what's his name? Newt Gingrich, whose wife had cancer, and he went to the hospital while she had cancer to tell her he was leaving her.
You fucked your wife over when she was having cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And Denny, you fucked kids. Period. And, to be fair, in the interest of objectivity, which is also why we probably need a third party, people like Anthony Weiner, fuck you. You deserve every year of the prison sentence you were sentenced to.
Oh, he had her sign the divorce papers while she was still in the hospital bed getting chemotherapy.
Yep. That's right, Bill. That
was Newt.
Yeah. It's the one question. It was the one question I wanted to ask Newt when I interviewed him on 2 occasions, and I just never did because I don't like to make a guest feel uncomfortable because then they shut down and I don't get anything out of them. You know what I'm saying?
And
in other words, that would have ended the interview.
Well, you could have made the last question.
Well, I thought about it and I said I got other things I can get him on just as easily, and I did. I asked him a question that he gave me the most bogus answer. I said, are you a church going man? And he said, yes. Oh, yes, I believe in Christ, and I'm a very religious guy. And I said, then how come I see you on all those Sunday shows? And he said, well, I go to church first. I said, doesn't count. It's the Lord's Day. You're supposed to do nothing.
If you were a more skillful liar, which of course he is not, but if you were a more skillful liar, he could have said that he was of the Christian denomination in which he believes that Saturday is the Sabbath, not Sunday. I can't remember what the denomination is called, but
it's called being Jewish. It's called Judaism. It's called Judaism.
Well, no, it's not. Yeah, I know. Jews view the
Saturday.
Practicing Jews view Saturday as a Sabbath, but there is a branch of. I knew a guy.
Are you talking maybe the Seventh Day Adventists or Jehovah's Witnesses? One of those believe that Saturday is the. But this
Seventh Day
Adventists.
Yeah,
he should have said that to cover his ass.
Well, he didn't know how to cover his ass. I'll tell you, I've interviewed a lot of what people consider right-wing assholes, and like them. There was that guy. I'm trying to remember who it was now. He was on Dancing with the Stars, as a matter of fact.
Tom DeLay.
Tom DeLay. I interviewed Tom DeLay. Yeah. I got to tell you, I really liked Tom DeLay. I had a nice time with Tom DeLay. He was.
Well, there's a reason why they're politicians. They're
exactly, but he was very honest with me about stuff, and he answered all my questions, and he didn't seem to be evasive, and I kind of liked the guy, But I got and then there've been other people I've interviewed who you would think what's his name? His daughter's the press secretary. Who's the current press secretary?
Mike Huckabee.
Mike Huckabee.
Yeah.
Huckabee, nicest guy in the world. I love Mike. I mean, as a person, not as a politician, but as a person. I see him as a politician, and I want to puke that I even like this guy, But
well, a coiled serpent will do you no harm.
Exactly.
Agitated the right way.
Anyway, so the deal was that I liked all those people, and yet I got to tell you, Newt Gingrich was a motherfucker. I did not like this man. I didn't trust him. There was nothing trustworthy about him. He was terrible. He was just terrible. But I got him to come back a second time, because the first time I didn't hit him with the hard questions because I wanted him a second time. And the second time I started hitting him with hard questions. And that was the last time he ever came on. But I never got around to, and what about your wife in the hospital? In a way, you know something, I think I thought in a way that question was maybe a little too personal.
Yeah, it's in the public.
Yeah, well, it's only in the public because it leaked.
Guess what? He's a public figure, so he has to
yeah. But I was debating with myself whether it was a fair question and whether it was important in talking about politics to bring that up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if a common person like myself can get wind of it, it's fucking fair to ask that question of people.
Well, but what does it have to do with his politics, what I'm saying?
Well, it has everything to do with his politics. It has everything in the sense that it leads into how he governs and how he views his constituents and how he views other people that he affects who aren't his immediate constituents, but nevertheless has...
Well, at least I'm happy to announce that I found him a motherfucker. Anyway, yes, Jeff had his hand up.
Well, I think the big issue with Newt is character, and the same thing that we have with Trump.
Oh, yeah.
The lack of character.
Newt has a complete lack of character. Look how he sucked up to Trump while he was trying to get a job. Yes, Tony, you raised your hand?
Yeah, Jeff makes a good question. Like, if just looking at Trump, you don't want to read into everything, but you can see like how the news covering him. I don't want to blow up Puerto Rico, but if you use it like how he's throwing out the towels, the paper towels, how he talks, it looks like no matter how you can say fake news, you can't hide the fact that people define themselves by their actions.
What I found
he's just a prick.
Yeah, what I found the most objectionable was the way she was dressed. She looked like she was going to Puerto Rico for a vacation. She didn't. Malaria. She didn't look like she was going to some place. She should have put on a pair of fatigues or something like that.
Something like casual.
Should have put on a thong and posted for Playboy all over.
But she had a very nicely clean hat, and then this. She looked like she was ready for a vacation.
You see the back of the hat said Camp David on it too.
Did it?
Yeah.
Cunt that she is.
Well, she was dressed in mourning when they went to Vegas, though, all in black.
I'll tell you what, Brian, I wouldn't call her a cunt, and I'll tell you why. She's a prisoner.
Yeah,
she really is, and she looks like it. I could swear that she's blinking out in Morse code. Help me,
No, she's making money on the whole deal, Alex. She's not a prisoner. Listen to Nicole Wallace. Anybody that works or lives in the White House is not a victim. Not a victim.
I wholeheartedly
Best jobs in the world, they're not victims.
But Tim, if there's anybody that we feel sorry for, it's Barron, because he's not even an adult yet.
Yes.
Right. We should definitely feel sorry for Barron. Just like we should feel sorry for all the dreamers that ended up where their parents took them. And made them criminals.
I guarantee you Barron's going to be gay.
I have a feeling. You see that?
What do you think?
You see it, right, Brian?
I thought that same thing for a while.
Yeah.
He's got a high IQ, though, I think.
I heard it. He's very smart.
Well, what do you think about Trump bailing out Donald Jr. and Ivanka from that fraud scheme with the Soho project?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm not surprised by any of that. These are business people, and business people will get away with anything they think they can get away with in the name of business.
District attorney, and they also paid off the witnesses because he ended up settling for 90%. They got 90% of their money back, but they had to sign an agreement they would not cooperate with the district attorney. Paid off the judge and the witnesses.
Yep.
Well,
subpoenas are due.
Sounds like Rico to me.
Yeah, it does.
Is this the end of Rico? There's a movie reference nobody got.
Whatever you do, kid, don't tell him a dame tripped me up.
Yeah.
Now, was that Cagney or was that Robinson? I forget.
God, I don't remember that line particularly, but it sounds like it'd be a Cagney line.
I think it was one of us. We had one on black and white 8mm.
Edward G. Robinson. I was on mute. I was screaming it. Nobody heard me.
Edward G. Robinson said, wait a minute.
Little Caesar, yeah.
Did he say that in
Cagney,
Little Caesar?
Public Enemy. Yeah, Little Caesar.
Well, what was the quote again?
What did you say? The pizza, Little Caesar, Little Caesar.
Is this the end?
No, I know that. We're talking about another line that he said.
The dame tripped me up.
The dame tripped me up. It was the dame that tripped me up.
Whatever you do, kid, he's dying, and he tells the younger guy, whatever you do, kid, don't tell him a dame tripped me up.
I'll tell you, the one thing about those Warner Brothers films back in the day was every one of them had a great last line.
Right, like Top of the World, Mom.
Like with Little Caesar, it was, Mother of God, is this the end of Rico?
Right, that's the one you just said. That was
and my favorite, of course, is from the Roaring '20s when Jimmy Cagney is lying dead on the steps of St. Patrick's Cathedral in the arms of his girlfriend, and a cop comes along and says, "Who was he?" And she says his name. She says, "What did he do?" And she says, "He used to be a big shot."
Used to be a big shot, right?
And then the music swells, and the end with the Warner Brothers shield. You know.
What movie was that?
Roaring '20s.
I think
Roaring '20s. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You use that line all the time.
Well, I use that line all the time because every time I think about my career, if anybody wants to ask who's Alex Bennett, he used to be a big shot. Yeah.
That's right.
At the
He
end
used
of
to
the
be a contender. He used to be somebody.
Right. Marlon Brando.
Are you still there, Bill?
Yeah, I'm still here, Alex.
Anything you want to say?
Just carry on.
Yeah, your camera still isn't showing up at all, huh?
Well, I can now see all of you.
Oh, okay. Now, do you see your camera there at all?
Yeah, there's a big slash through it. Let me see if I can activate it.
That's the thing you have to click on,
activate it. Activate it. See what happens. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, in a moment. There he is. There's Bill Ferguson. Hi, Bill. Where are you calling from,
frozen,
Bill?
but still there.
Yuba City, California, sir.
Yuba City, California. Oh, Yuba City. I know Yuba City. It's up. You take a left before you get to Sacramento, and you go up. What's the highway? The big highway.
99. Take 599.
Yep.
And go straight up.
Yeah, and if you go far enough, you hit the what do you call it? The mountains up there. You wind up in Klamath Falls. Actually, I think you can wind up in Klamath Falls.
It's way up there.
Yeah, it's way up there. That is the longest stretch of road I've ever driven on because it's boring. There's just it's straight. And if you take it south, go all the way from the north to the south, it's the most boring road you will ever drive in your entire life. So.
Well, when you got to set up what I have, it might not be.
Five's worse.
Five's worse?
Yeah, 5 is worse, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Interstate makes it even worse.
Was 5 the one that goes to L.A.?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and
All
on
the
the
way
other side of 101, is it still 5 going north?
Yep.
You go 5, it goes all the way up into Oregon.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm
Once
thinking
you get
of.
up there, it's nice,
But you don't take that for Yuba City. You got to take you go up to Sacramento, I think, and then you do a turn and go to. Does anybody care about this, by the way, who's listening? I was saying, how many people want to hear about this insurance talk and all of this? And I looked at the numbers of people listening, and it's really quite good. I think we found a format, Alta Caca Radio.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, the insurance companies are watching, and all of our premiums are going to go up next year now.
Yeah, they're writing our names down. Yes, Tony.
I'm gonna take a shower. I gotta get up early tomorrow for a truck.
Oh, okay. When's the last time?
We got a truck coming from China.
What?
Uh-oh,
We got a small truck from China coming in.
No, you don't have a small truck coming from China. somehow that stuff had to be put on a boat
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what-
brought over here. The truck didn't drive across the water.
That's true. It cleared
never
customs
know.
actually the other day, so we got like boxes.
Okay, and what are they, hats?
Actually, they're caps.
They're caps.
They kind of look like little pea caps, I guess. I didn't really see them yet. They're new ones.
Yeah, well, make sure they don't have formaldehyde in them because those Chinese.
Every time the truck comes, it's always dusty in the boxes. So tomorrow I'm going to wear a mask. I think I don't want to breathe that shit in. The dust from the truck bothers me.
Yeah.
It gets in the throat.
Okay, well, Tony has an early
That's okay.
call,
That's
ladies
okay.
and gentlemen. So
Good night.
let's let him
Good
go.
night.
Good night, Tony.
Bye, Tony. So now the youngest guy in the crowd is left. No, wait a minute. Patrick's still what, 39? What is it, Patrick?
I'm 42.
Oh, 42. Okay, you're still. How old are you, Bill?
48.
Okay, so
There you go.
yeah. Brian then may be the youngest one here. Brian, how old are you?
35.
Well,
We have a winner.
do we? Yes, I guess we do.
Yeah.
He wins the booby prize. Yeah.
So you know what I got a little sick of? I get a little sick of is this thing that went on in Las Vegas. Look, we all know it's a tragedy. Although, I told you so. But it's a tragedy. It's a horrible thing. People go to see even if it's a country music concert, they go to a concert. They're there to have fun, to be a kind of a temporary community, and all of a sudden, there are 58 people dead. Is it still 58, or is it more than that now?
Still have about 59.
59?
Still.
Yeah, get the numbers changed.
500 people injured. Terrible thing. And I think none of us can sit here and make a joke about it or, find some humor in it or anything like that. But what I hate is the way these networks milk this thing for profit.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Why is it? Will you tell me in God's name why all the network anchors are there?
On the same.
You know what it is, Alex?
Yeah.
All it is ratings. Ratings.
You don't have to tell me that. I was in that business. But the fact is, ratings are one thing, exploitation is yet another.
That's
and
true.
Quite frankly, what is Lester Holt going to do to improve the situation by being in Las Vegas?
At least in
Who
Puerto
wants to lose
Rico.
his money?
Plus,
In Puerto
he
Rico,
stands there anchoring his newscast and then saying, and now let's go to so-and-so who's across town at the site of the blah, blah, blah. He doesn't even do anything. He's just doing his newscast sitting in front of the Mandalay Bay Hotel with 2 windows broken out.
They did get Paul Ryan to do something, though.
What did they get him
With
to
some of
do?
the coverage, they didn't vote on that silencer bill to make silencers legal.
Oh.
And shouldn't these devices be illegal? Machine guns are illegal.
Oh, I read a thing
He had
tonight
a
that
machine
the
gun.
Republicans are ready and willing to pass a law to prevent these, what they call butt things. What are they? The thing that
A butt thing, right?
It-
Phil's not here.
It,
He'd
ch-
tell
it
us.
changes it into it changes
A bump
it
thing, yeah.
a
Bump, bumps up.
a bumper
It's
something or
a
another.
high
that-
speed trigger puller,
Bump
basically.
stock.
It's a high-speed trigger puller. Yes,
It uses the recoil to hit the trigger again.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, it makes it in essence a fully automatic rifle, even though it's sold because you can buy a semi-automatic.
Gee, the Republicans are thinking we can make a law against that. Well, it's not the whole problem. Yes, Bill Ferguson, you had your hand up?
I was going to say that the device he was using is a bump stock, and technically,
bump stock. That's it.
It's not an automatic weapon.
No.
No, it's an attachment.
No,
Yeah.
it's an attachment that makes it become like an automatic weapon.
I saw a video
Correct.
like a YouTube. It's like a holder. It looked like to me.
No,
it makes it like easier to put on your shoulder.
What it is that when you pull the trigger, it then starts rapidly helping the rifle to
The recoil from the stock that goes into your shoulder
Yeah.
triggers the trigger.
Right.
So once
And it
you
goes
pull
faster.
it Once you
Oh.
pull
Just
it
keeps
once, then
Oh.
it starts bouncing against your shoulder,
Yeah.
and it keeps
Firing.
pulling the
And
trigger.
how do you
So you
stop
don't
it?
get
How do you
triggered.
stop
You
it
pull
from
it away.
you
Pull it away.
pull it away to stop it from firing.
Bang,
Right.
bang,
Pretty
bang,
much.
bang.
Save your
Bang, bang,
finger.
bang.
It saves your finger from having to do everything a lot.
Yeah, you can't go that fast, really. I mean, otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, thank you. I
Oh,
wondered
yeah.
what that was.
And are these things sold legally?
Yep.
Yes.
It's about
Yeah,
50,
because you're not
250
buying
bucks.
you're not buying a
It's
weapon. You're
aftermarket
buying
or something,
an
yeah.
attachment.
But an automatic rifle is illegal. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
But
So,
technically, that
and
doesn't
yet
make
something
automatic.
which turns it into an automatic rifle, or at least have the effectiveness of an automatic rifle, is okay. You can
Hence
sell
your
that.
loophole.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's your loophole that everybody uses, and there's a bunch of them in the gun, world. There's, even a silencer technically doesn't silence the
Yeah.
gun itself. It directs the sound away from the shooter.
Because when I heard butt stock, the first thing I thought of was it was a bad music festival.
Well, just as you can make your own silencer, one of the ways would be putting like a bunch of pillows in front of the firearm, right? That would muffle
Yeah.
the sound.
Yeah.
Now, they
Well,
also
Yeah,
said
well,
he's been planning this for a year now, they say. It took him a year to plan the whole thing. And he got the wife on the plane, and she was
No,
away
was it?
for a year while he was
She
planning.
wasn't his wife. She wasn't.
Now she's back again.
She wasn't his.
Right.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. She wasn't his wife.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Girlfriend.
Live-in girlfriend, they call her, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, Bill.
Having done the math on this with this bump stock device, if you assume a 30-round magazine and 5 seconds to empty one and a firing time of about 15 minutes, this guy put 4,500 rounds into that crowd.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought he said they had 60-round magazines is what they were finding.
Okay, well that okay,
Well, you double
so
it.
we double
Still
that.
not.
So 9,000.
That's insane.
Easily could
It
have.
is.
And
Did
yet,
they say he shot for only 9 minutes?
Well,
Oh,
he went from,
9/11. 9/11.
he didn't necessarily reload either. He had so many guns, he just had them set up and just went from gun to gun to gun to gun.
Oh.
Or
I got
if
another
they
one.
jammed, he had plenty of backups too.
Oh,
Yeah.
the camera.
And he had
Is-
cameras to.
No, but when they came through the hallway, the camera helped. He would have shot more, except that he saw them coming in the camera, and they're saying they stopped him, or he would have kept shooting.
That was the security guard that stopped him,
Right, right.
I believe.
wait a
too.
minute.
He
So
got
he
shot.
So he didn't commit suicide. He was shot.
No, he did. He shot himself.
No, the
He
security
himself.
guard got shot.
Oh, the
Yeah, the
security guard got shot. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that I heard
So,
about.
so he thought he was going to get out of there. I think some people thought he was really deranged.
Hmm.
Why would you have all that elaborate? If he had to, any normal person would just plan on committing suicide or jumping out the window. Why would you have all those cameras? to
Because
try
he
to-
had studied other scenarios of other shooters, and he knew that
But
the
you
first
know
thing
you're
they
not
were
going
going
to
to
get
do.
out of a 32nd floor hotel room when
But
they
he-
can see you shooting.
But I'll tell you what I don't get about the whole deal, and this is is we still don't have any idea what his motivation was.
Right, that's killing everybody, right?
What was
Everybody
it?
wants
What
to know.
was it that set him off? What is
Why?
it? What is
Why?
it?
Mhm.
What?
His brother said that he had hoped that it was a brain tumor or something, because if the cheese just fell off his fucking cracker for no reason, then we're pretty much all in trouble.
Right.
Well, but the question is, if he's been planning this for a year, I doubt if it was a brain tumor that was causing it, because it was too deliberative. It wasn't, a person with a brain tumor, a person who suddenly goes nutty and wacko, takes a gun and just fires indiscriminately. But he doesn't
Yeah,
make
they don't
plans
plan.
like this. They don't plan like this.
Anything.
Could
Yeah,
it
and
be
on top
that
of that-
could it be that he was taking some type of medication that made him a little
what I think.
loopy?
Yeah, that
Well, they're
could
iffy
be
about that
too.
now.
but-
They were, the one thing, a couple things he was on aren't the sort of things that turn you psychotic, but they are still
but
looking.
It could have side effects or allergic type reactions. They
That
can
could be.
affect the mental
Exactly.
state.
yeah,
Maybe
but-
tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's
but
mental state.
again, we're talking about a guy who spent a year planning this.
We don't know
It
that.
could be very
Where
slow,
did you hear that?
and
Where
people
did
can
you hear
go a real small, slow death spiral into dementia.
The word they're looking for is premeditated.
How do they know whether he spent a year planning it? Who knows that?
I think they know when some of the guns were bought.
That's it. That's it.
Well,
It's
that
been a
doesn't
year
matter.
amassing
Buy a
the
gun and
materials.
he
It
has
doesn't
guns.
mean-
Some of the weapons
Doesn't
came out
matter.
of California, Southern California.
So
Yeah.
many
Some out of
guns.
Texas and Arizona, too, I think.
Arizona, Texas, and California.
Yeah.
So he spent
So-
some time collecting all these things.
Exactly.
But this may have been one of those things. Hey, look what's coming up. This is the best time. You know, look, this big country music festival. Why not do it now?
I got another one. I heard that he was in other suites in other hotels.
He was
But-
he had checked out another hotel a
the
week
next door
earlier
one.
when there was another
he
music
asked
festival.
for that hotel room. He asked for that specific room for that night.
Yes, but the week before he had tried another hotel and couldn't get a room that looked on what he wanted to shoot at.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
there was
he-
another concert.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that one
He's really mad at the hotels for all his realizing he's lost hundreds of $1,000s.
But this guy
in
had
gambling
this guy had
and
several.
wanted to ruin the tourism business.
This guy had
But that's demanded.
this
That's
guy had several $1 million. That's hardly
That makes sense.
is
But
hardly
he gambled
a
away a lot too.
yeah.
Now, what got curiosity, when he got that room, how in that world did he get all those guns up to his
Everybody
room?
brings guns. They have a gun show every weekend in Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
yeah. But they bring
This guy
guns
got
like
all
that
the
all the
There was no gun
time.
show up down there. There was no
And
gun
there's one
show.
coming up this weekend.
Oh, this weekend, yeah.
So he
Yeah.
got there early.
Yeah. Yes.
it
And they fold up.
Bill's
they
got his
fold
hand up.
And they go into a regular suitcase, and if you make 10 trips through the lobby with several suitcases that are kind of heavy and rolling through, it doesn't attract any attention at all. He
Yeah.
could have made 10 trips through there, and they'll find it on the videos.
Bill's got his
There's, you know,
hand
That'll
up.
be the
Bill,
next
hey, everybody! Bill's got his
Well,
hand
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yes, Bill.
Well, it's actually a lot simpler than that. You can just tip the bellhop $100. He'll get the golden card out and take all your guns up to your room for you.
Yep.
Yeah. You
No
know.
mystery.
Give
he
him
goes down and
$100.
drinks.
That's it, right, Bill?
Yeah. Not anymore, but you know, I mean, you know, somebody asked me today, well, I wonder what this is going to do for tourism to in Las Vegas, and I said probably nothing. You know.
I get a cheap room right now.
Well, you can get a good room at the Mandalay Bay, I'm sure, but you don't know that for sure either. I mean, you know,
That's the one hotel you could be in when that guy was there because he couldn't shoot into the hotel.
Right.
He was in the hotel.
You know what it reminds me
Better
of,
if you're
Alex?
in the hotel than
Right.
if you're outside the hotel.
Yeah.
At that point.
Well,
We went to the Macy's Day Parade after 9/11, and it was so crowded. You could only be on one side of the parade because they had so much security. They didn't want people on both sides of the parade, so people could escape if there was a bomb. And we had to walk like 5 blocks to get around to the side that we could watch the parade. But everybody thought something was going to happen. We thought we were just sitting ducks. But we went and we stayed right there at the Holiday Inn at the Macy's, right next to Macy's, and nothing happened, but it was weird.
Well, if
Seems
you,
like
if,
I remember.
right
if you-
after an event like that is probably the safest time to go.
yeah.
So we were in the basement of the Empire State Building waiting for tickets. It was just completely packed in there, and somebody set off an alarm by pushing on the door accidentally, and
Yeah.
this alarm goes off, scared the
Okay.
crap out of everybody.
All right, Tim. Tim, do you hear the Tim? Can you hear the music? That means it's almost over here, and I got to say goodbye to people like Patrick. Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Mike. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Bill Ferguson. Thank you, Jeff Stein, Charlene Martinez, John Rockwell, Brian, and of course, Tom Yamaguchi, who also called earlier in the damn program. So
Tony too.
Tony.
Oh, and Tony who left. Okay. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Hey, everybody. Why don't you do something really nice and wave goodbye to everybody? Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your citizen panel for this evening. and we've enjoyed having them here. It's been a good night. Been some interesting discussion. There'll be more coming up next on the program called The Intersection with Jack and Amy. And then following that, it's a program with a lot of commercials called Connections. But they're fun to listen to, so give them a listen. Take a look at our brand new website, gabnet.net. I've changed it. I've cleaned it up. Now I got too much stuff. I got to figure out what to fill it with. Anyway, I'll see you again tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay?